Oh, hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Google, AMD, Netflix, QQQ, and SPY. Before I get started, just wanted to mention that there are some political turmoil happening in Russia at this time. This is a new development, and that could have an impact on our markets on Monday. But aside from that, let's just have a look at the technical picture. So this is Tesla. So if I look at the line chart of Tesla, you'll see that Tesla has formed a lower high. So this is, the first negative sign. But if, let's say, were to rally and take out this level, then this no longer becomes negative. Then this becomes like a positive pattern. So that's something to keep an eye on. But what happens if it continues to move lower? So what are some of the levels to watch out for? In that case, if we switch to the candle chart, this was the previous swing low. This is around 248. So let me just bring in the levels. 248. So that would be the first level of interest. If it bounces off this level, that's good. But if it breaks below this level, 248, there is a gap here. So this is a gap zone between 235 and 242. That would be the next level I'll be watching. If I bring in the moving averages, you'll see that the daily 20 moving average, which is this green line, also happens to be where the gap is. So it's entirely possible for Tesla to pull back and close the gap and test the 20-day moving average. Is that going to cause any technical damage? No, not at all, because the moving averages are still moving higher. So I don't think that's going to create any kind of technical damage. Also, if you look at the momentum indicators, RSI still remains above the 50 level right here. It was way up there around 80. So this recent pullback has released some of that overbought condition. So as long as RSI remains above the 50 level, that's all good. Also, you can see MACD is beginning to curl. The question is whether it's going to cross and move lower, something similar to that. Now, if this, if MACD does that, then I would expect Tesla to enter into a consolidation phase, something similar to what we've seen here. Possibly even a little bit weaker. So that would be consistent with MACD moving lower. So those are some of the things that I'm watching for Tesla. But at the moment, there's nothing negative, both either on the price action or on the momentum indicators that is of concern. I mean, if it were to close underneath the daily 20 EMA, then obviously things will look a little bit weak. But we're not there yet. So if that happens, then I'll come back with a new update. But that's not what I'm seeing. I definitely think that a gap close is very much in the card, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Moving on to the next one, Apple. So Apple, let's move the moving averages. You can clearly see that Apple has a very nice looking established uptrend. It's got this channel and it's moving, moving higher inside this channel. Now, as long as it stays in this channel, I don't think there's anything to worry about. So there's not much else to say other than to say that, okay, watch this channel, because you see that the bottom of the channel, it has tested this number of times and bounced off this level. Even if it were to pull back to this level, that's still okay. It's still inside this channel. But once it falls underneath the channel, that's when we'll have to revisit. But it's not there yet. So I would just leave it at that and see what happens. But this is a very strong looking chart to me. Next, let's look at Meta. Meta to me looks similar to Tesla. Nice looking uptrend. If I bring in the moving averages, you can see that it's been moving nicely, moving higher, and the moving averages are also going up. You can see that during this uptrend, it has touched the moving average, the 20 EMA, several times. It hasn't done so for a while. So, can it come back and touch this moving average? It's entirely possible, which is around 271. And is that going to break anything? I don't think so. The sequence of higher lows will still remain intact. Only if it closes underneath the 20-day moving average, that's when we need to revisit and evaluate, if there is any structural problem. But at the moment, I don't see that. On the other hand, resistance on the other hand is this zone. So let's quickly have a look at this zone. So you can see that if I show you the line chart, you can clearly see the levels. You can see there was a rejection right here, rejection right here. So this is around 293.50. So that's the bottom of this channel. So that would be an area of resistance. And then the top of the channel is where this support, it found support right here. So I'm looking at these two levels, around 294 to around 303. So this level is around 306. So those would be the levels I would be looking out for on further rebound. The first one would be around 294. So that's on the resistance side, and the support, as I said, would be with the 20 EMAs first. So that would be the first level I'll be watching, around 271. The next level is this level, which is around 260. So those would be the two levels I'll be watching. For. But overall, this looks a very strong looking chart, uptrend. RSI and MACD, they remain in positive territory. So there's not too much negative you can say on Meta. So moving next to Microsoft. So Microsoft, again, good looking chart, very, it's been moving up. And you'll see that it found support previously at the 20 EMA. It closed just above this level on Friday. So if I just quickly look at the line chart just to see what sort of pattern it's forming, I'm just going to hide this. So you can see that since reaching this level, this has the potential to be a lower high. It will be a lower high once it closes underneath this level. But until then, you can see the sequence of higher highs intact. So if it were to do something like this, then it would be the first time we would see a lower high, and that would be a slight change to what we've seen so far. On the other hand, if it just moves higher and takes out this level, then this structure looks positive. So I'm watching Microsoft to see whether or not it establishes this level, in which case it would be the first negative sign. But that's just one data point. If I look at the other data points, so moving averages, so it hasn't broken below. If let's say the 20 EMA is breached, it's around 331.75. Then the next level I'll be watching is this level, which is around 322, and then finally the 50 EMA, which is around 317. So those would be the levels I would be watching on the downside. The 20 EMA, which is around 331, and this previous swing low, which is around 322, and finally the 50 EMA. On the other hand, if it takes out this level, which is 340, then the target would be the previous high, which is around 360. Let me just confirm that. No, it's around 351. So those would be the levels I'd be watching on the upside. So watch Microsoft to see whether or not we see some further weakness. But overall, again, it's looking quite positive to me. I mean, some pullback, is that gonna affect the overall picture? I don't think so. As long as RSI remains above the 50 level, I think momentum indicators would be positive. Let's look at NVidia. So NVIDIA too, if you look at the daily chart, strong looking chart, during this rally, the 20 EMA has provided support number of times right here. It hasn't touched the 20 EMA in a while. The 20 EMA is where it's around 397. If it pulls back further and touches that, is that going to break anything? No, because this was the previous swing low. So the sequence of higher lows will still remain intact. Only if it breaches this level, then the sequence of higher high and higher low will be breached. But we're not there yet. So even if it wants to pull back a little bit, I think it can do so without jeopardizing the current trend. And the resistance remains right here, which is the previous high, and that's around 440. So resistance 440, support. So if I zoom in like a 4-hour chart, then you'll see the levels clearly, maybe 2 hours. So you can see. So you can see that it has traded between this level and this level. You can see that the support here also comes from this level. So if this level is breached, 400 would be the next level, having traded in this zone. And if this level is broken, then a measured move of this distance projects a target to around 400. On a daily basis, where is the 20 EMA? 20 EMA is also at that level, around 400. So that works out. So even if it pulls back to 400, I don't think it jeopardizes the technical picture in any way. So that's NVIDIA. So let's look at Netflix. So Netflix has been pulling back since reaching a high of around 450. It's been pulling back. It's been coming towards this 20 EMA. The 20 EMA currently is around 410. 410. You can see that since this rally started, it's been making a series of higher lows. So perhaps this is now in search of another higher low. So even if it pulls back to this level right here and does that, this then becomes a higher low. Only if it falls underneath this level, then the sequence of higher low is going to be breached. So this level is around 400, around 398. So if it falls underneath 398, then obviously we have to reassess the trend. But at the moment, I don't see anything negative about the trend. It hasn't touched the 20 EMA for a while. It's entirely possible that it could do so. And even if it did so, it's not going to break anything. So the other thing of note is that MACD has just crossed right here. Now, previously when MACD crossed right here, you can see that it entered into a consolidation phase. So it could very well do something similar. Now here when it crossed, there was a deeper MACD pullback and we saw a deeper correction. So it's not clear whether it's going to have a deep pullback towards the zero line. If so, then we could see a deeper correction. But that's going to happen over time. So it's not clear that what the price action would be. So we'll have to wait and see. But I would basically think that some kind of a consolidation pullback would be healthy. And based on the MACD cross and based on what happened MACD cross previously, I would say that is a possibility. So we'll see how things play out in coming days. I'll come back with an update. But the levels I'm watching is the 20 EMA and these two. As long as these two hold, then I think consolidation is healthy. But if it closes underneath these two levels, then we have to reassess. So that's Netflix. So let's look at AMD. So AMD obviously has the weakest chart so far of the big tech stocks. You can clearly see that having traded in this zone, it has broke into the downside. In the process, it has also closed below the daily 20 EMA, the green line, and it closed right at the daily 50 EMA. In the process, it also closed the gap. You can see there was a gap right here, so it has closed this gap. So the question is, what can we expect? Now, during this pullback, if you look at the momentum indicators, RSI is closed below 50. Now, this is, to me, is negative. Whenever RSI falls below 50, generally we see weak price action. If you look from this point to this point, when RSI was below 50, you can see weak price action. Also, if you see right from here to here, when RSI was below the 50 level, this black line is the 50 level, we saw weak price action. On the other hand, if you look from this point to this point, when RSI was above 50, we saw positive price action. So this is definitely of concern to me. The question is, can it reclaim the 50 level? You can see here, it was underneath the 50 level for a short period of time. The question is whether it's going to be something like this, or whether we're going to see, a longer period of time where RSI remains below the 50 level. If so, then I could see further weakness. So let's discuss some of the possibilities. One possibility is that because it has pulled back, we could see a bounce. If it bounces, this area is likely to be resistance. So the question is, can it do something like this? It's entirely possible. So so this would be an area I would watch out for. The other possibility is that if there is a bounce, it does something like this. It reclaims this level, and then this level then becomes support and does that. So that would be a more positive look if it did that. The other possibility is that, let's say it gets a rejection and then closes below this level, in which case this would be the next level to watch out for. This is around 100. Why is this level so relevant? That's because, having traded between these two zones, a measured move of this distance is this level. And you can see that this level also was a resistance previously. So if it pulls back, can this level act as a support? Also, if I draw a fib, so if I just hide all of those, if I draw a fib from this level to the top, so this level is the 61.8 level. So this level is 61.8. So you've got 61.8 fib at this level. You've got previous resistance, which could be support right here. You also have, a trading zone between this level. A measured move projects a target to this level. So this level looks, there's a confluence of support at this level, which is just above 100. So, if it continues to move lower, that's the level I would watch out for. But I would say that so far, this one looks to be the weakest, both in terms of price action as well as the momentum indicators. Now let's have a look at QQQ just to see what we can see in QQQ. So in QQQ, what we see is that it has traded between these two levels. And right now it closed just above the daily 20 EMA. It hasn't touched the daily 20 EMA for a while. The last time was right here. So it could very well test the 20 EMA. You can clearly see that since this uptrend started, we see series of higher lows. This was the previous higher low. So maybe it's in search of another higher low. So it could do something like this. Or it could come back and make an equal high and do something like this. As long as it remains above this level, I think the overall structure still remains positive. That said, I can see that the MACD has just crossed right here. Previously, when MACD crossed right here, we see sideways to down slightly. Also right here, when MACD crossed, we can see that there was a consolidation phase. So it's entirely possible that, if MACD continues to move lower, we could see some, sideways to lower price action going forward. Is that going to be, is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so. I mean, after such a strong run up, I think some kind of a pause, some kind of a consolidation like this is going to be healthy, because you can see after this consolidation there was a rebound. After this consolidation there was a rebound. Maybe it consolidates for a few weeks, and then that will be the beginning of the next phase up. So so I'm very much looking at the 20 EMA, which is around 356, and then this level, which is around 348. Those would be the two levels I'm watching on the downside, and obviously resistance would be the previous high, which is around 373. So those would be the levels I'm watching. On SPY, just to finish SPY, SPY is similar in the sense that since reaching this high, high of this level, it's been pulling back. The 20 EMA should provide the near-term support, which is around 430. SPY closed at 433, so that's just 3 points away. And then next area would be this level right here, which is around 425. So those would be the two levels I'm watching. Finally, the 50 EMA, which is around 421. Even if it pulls back to this level, I think the overall structure still remains positive. You can see MACD is beginning to cross. So if MACD does something like this, so we could see kind of a sideways action on SPY. And I don't think some sort of consolidation over the next 2-3 weeks is necessarily a bad thing. I think it will give it, it would provide an opportunity for the market to digest this gain. All right, so I'll leave it at that. I thank you very much for watching the video. I will come back with another update as early next week. I hope to see you in that video again. Thank you.